Welcome to Explore HVAC and Home Services. We're uncovering stories, strategies, and even some secrets behind successful businesses. I'm your host, Pam Mashburn. And hey, today we're joined by a special guest from Pettit Heating and Cooling out of White House, Tennessee. And that's Mike Pettit. He's the owner and founder of Pettit Heating and Cooling, and they are growing at 2 additional locations. Welcome on board.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're so
It's
excited. You haven't had your own business for very long. Tell me a little bit about how you got started in this.
well, we started April 2010. Actually, we've been in business, over 15 years. And for 12 years, is like I tell people, I didn't have a business. I had a very low paying job. But, Pettit, in April 2010, my prior employer, I just got tired of the drive, almost 50 miles every day. And there was just some burnout there. So I was literally going to take off for a couple of months at the time, Pam. I enjoy fishing. My wife and I, were traveling around the state, fishing tournaments and things like that. So I was going to take a couple of months, yeah, just do some fishing, kind of gather my thoughts, and just see where that kind of. Not sure where it was going to take me. But long story short, in that, the first week after I left that company, after being there 17 years, I had a friend call me. And he says, "Hey, man, my AC's down. Can you get one of y'all service techs out here to take a look at the system?" And I told him, I said, "Well, I no longer work there, but, my background as a service tech, I serviced for 2 years, no, 8 years out at Lee Company. I was an install mechanic for 2 years, and then I was in sales for 7. Still had my tool bag, still had some
Feels like
meters. Yeah. So, what, I'll come out and take a look at it. And this is literally how Pettit came about, and I was working on this system. Long story short, the compressor was dead. I think the unit was 14 years old, and I had called one of our distributors, and I said, "Hey, man, I've got a friend of mine that is without AC, and he needs a new system. I don't have a license yet, but can you sell me a heating and air system?" He was like, "Yeah, I'll take care of it on this one, but you need to go get licensed if you're going to continue to buy." So, anyways, I'm installing this piece of equipment. While I'm installing that unit, his neighbor had walked up to me and he says, "When you get done there, can you come over and look at my system because it's making some noises?" I said, "Oh, yeah." I mean, I've been listening to it the whole time. Well, long story short, I sold him a new system. I literally come home that afternoon and I told my wife, I said, "What's your thoughts on me starting a HVAC business?" And she goes, "You set your mind to it. I know you'll be fine. Let's do it." Literally went down and bought me a trailer and, had it wrapped, threw me some tools in it, and I just went to work. So that's how Pettit started. So,
that is a moment. You but it was kind of a one man show,
12 years.
12 years. And then what happened? What did you change?
Oh, man, that's a lot to unpack, but I'll sum up the best way I know how. Um, you know, uh, in entrepreneurship, studies show if you look at the studies that it's like 70% of entrepreneurs, they end up addicts, they end up suicidal, they end up depressed, and all the above because they get into something thinking it's one thing, but after they get into it, it's not what they thought, and they don't know how to get out of it.
Wow.
Yeah, it really is. So, for 12 years, you can only imagine. In 12 years, I had no vacation. I literally was answering the phone, running my service, doing my installs, selling, getting home 11 o'clock at night, it was just crazy. It was just crazy, and I was becoming one of those statistics. I was medicating myself with things I probably shouldn't have, just trying to get from one day to the next. I felt like I was like in a gerbil in this wheel, and, on the outside looking in now, I understand now I just had a low paying job. I didn't have a business, and, yeah. So, I believe every man has a breaking point, and, mine was a spiritual awakening for me, and I don't say that lightly. It was literally a spiritual thing for me. And, I can remember, of course, 12 years been a one-man show, and what people see at Pettit, what they see has happened now has only happened in the last 3 years. the 27, 28 employees in this multi-million-dollar business has happened in 3 years. For 12 years, I was basically I don't know, Pam, a $500,000 revenue company. So, 3 years ago, um, literally just laid in my bed, man. I just cried like a baby. I was hurting. I mean, it was rough, and, I just kinda screamed out to God, "I know about you, but I don't know you. I just can't continue to do this." And, but I did read in His Word where He says, "It's the ones that seek Me with all their hearts are the ones that find Me." And He's not like Mike that makes promises and doesn't hold up to those promises. He holds up to His promises. He says, "The ones that draw near to Me, I draw near to them." So I held true to that, and I just went to work. And two of the greatest gifts I gave me 3 years ago was I hired me a business coach, I hired me a life coach, and absolutely changed my life.
Really?
Changed my life. Two different things. So, my business coach, what's the definition of insanity?
Yeah, keep doing the same.
Over and over. I hired this guy, and he starts teaching me business, and he's telling me things. I'm like, man, that ain't gonna work. But and at the same time, what I was doing wasn't working, so I'm going to try this. So we just started implementing things, and hired call takers. I brought in Ashley Payne. My son and I, he and I are the only service techs. Brett, it was Brett. Logan was actually working at the company that I left after 17 years. He was over there running service at the time. So yeah, I just started implementing things that he was telling me. And then, with my life coach, probably the biggest thing, yes, the business coach was awesome. And I'm still learning more about business every single day. But my life coach is what was really transformational for me. When people come to my office and they want to know, what's going on at Pettit, how are you doing this and stuff? And what I tell them, they're kind of shocked by it. But I can only share my story. And it is first thing we did, we went to work on my WIO. We call it our world in order. You would think a man at 48 years old would have his world in order, but I didn't. So this is my third year. So we went to work. We laid out God, family, health, career, finances. I laid out SMART goals, looked in the mirror, got real with that guy in the mirror, and I went to work on these things every single day, man.
Wow.
And, for instance, it's kind of sharing this kind of break it down for you with God. To trust somebody, you have to hang out with them, and the more you hang out with them, you trust them, right? So I made a promise to them 3 years ago. I meet with them at 4 o'clock every morning.
Oh my gosh. Why?
4 o'clock every
That's
morning.
really early.
Yeah.
You go to bed.
Mm, no later than 9:30. Try to be in bed by 8:30, 9 o'clock. So, yeah. So, he and I meet 4 o'clock every morning. In the last 3 years, I've learned to trust him more than anything and just been building that relationship. It's kind of my quiet time. I get to set my phone over here, before the family gets up, total quietness. You don't realize how noisy life is until you try to get away from it.
That's a great quote.
So, 4 o'clock in the morning, it's quiet. I get to gather my thoughts, and that's kind of how I start my morning. I set the tone for the day. For 48 years of my life, I didn't know that I was at war, and I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared for it. I was getting my butt kicked every day. When the evil one says, "I come to kill, steal, and destroy," we better freaking believe that. He's coming after your family. He's coming after your thoughts. He's coming after your health. He's coming after everything. 280 pounds, smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. Oh, yeah, that's a big old boy. Yeah.
My.
So, yeah. So I just went to work, and then, went to family, and I laid out SMART goals for family, and I got very intentional and disciplined in those areas. Not that I had a bad marriage, but I was just kind of going through the motions, if you will. I'm sure you've read the book, Good to Great. What's the enemy of greatness? Just wanting to be good. I don't want a good marriage. I want a great marriage. So I went to work on that. And then my health. I mean, seriously, I can remember the first time I went on my first run, I couldn't run to the mailbox and back. I thought my knees were going to explode, my hips were going to explode, and my heart was going to jump out of my
You just
chest.
mentioned
Yeah, at age 52 on my birthday, I celebrated by doing a 20-mile run. So, you and I talked about a while ago the discipline. It's the discipline of doing it every day are the ones that become successful. It's not motivation. It's not, because there's days I'm not motivated to run. There's days I'm not motivated to do business. There's days I'm not motivated to do marriage. I'm just keeping it real. But because I decide I'm gonna be disciplined, I'm gonna do it every day, I found out that's where the success is at, is when we become comfortable with being uncomfortable and just doing the uncomfortable thing. So, yeah. So, I say things like that too. I hope whoever may be watching this down the road that they may be encouraged to, if they don't have their world in order, that's where I started at. And now I can look back and see that if I didn't have my world in order and work on it every day, I would have never attracted the Ashley Paynes of the world, the Chad Harrisons of the world, the Brett Pettits, the
Did
Alex
they
Brown.
see a difference in you? Like, kind of order to order.
They had seen the transformation, Chad, especially Chad, as a matter of fact, Chad and I go way back. Yeah, our general manager. He, uh, he was my helper at Lee Company when he hired on at Lee Company. He and I were in a truck every day installing heating and air equipment. He knew the old bonehead, knucklehead Mike Pettit, you know what I'm saying? And then as I went to work on myself and he and I started those conversations, I think he saw the different guy and he trusted me enough to go, you know what, I think I can help. I want to be a part of this. Where if you rewind before that, he would have never come over.
That is really
So
because if people don't trust you, I mean, they're trusting their livelihood.
100%.
And so if they don't trust that you are disciplined enough to take your own life, you're not
Yeah.
going to want to. I never thought about that. Absolutely.
Yeah. I just believe that, but also I try to get better every day because in the next season, I want to make sure that I'm prepared for that.
Mhm.
As God wants to give these things to us, I want to make sure I'm prepared for it so it doesn't pass me up, if that makes sense.
So
Because I
take it short.
absolutely, I don't know who else he may add to the team, but I'm excited to see who it may be because when I look at Chad and Ash, well, when I look at everybody at Pettit, and I tell this all the time, and they may not fully understand where this comes from, but I look at them and I'm going, you guys and girls you're an answer person. You are literally an answer.
Um,
It made me look good.
they do, but
They make me look good.
they just I can just see how y'all all complement each other. You're really a visionary, really a go getter. A first says, okay, well, that's a great idea. Now how do we do it? And then Ash,
Yeah. So,
the side, financial side. She's also really good at understanding her wins. And she'll say, I don't think people are gonna like me. I don't know if
yeah.
they're gonna resonate with everything.
Mhm.
It's just you've got to feel it great.
100%.
Now, how do you find a life? We have heard of it. How did you find one?
For me, um, I don't know, it's been about 12, 13 years ago. My wife and I never went to church since we had been married, and, I think everybody experienced marriage problems a little bit over time. Ours wasn't real bad, but we were going through a season. I'm like, "Hey, let's give this church thing a thought. Let's just give it a try, and just see what it's all about." So, there was a church in White House that was just starting up. Um, didn't know anything about the pastor, didn't know anything about the church, and I stepped foot in these 4 walls, and, I'm sitting there. I'm I consider myself got this testosterone, I love fast cars, I love guns, I love all that stuff, and I'm sitting there, and the very first time I never heard this guy preach. He says, "What I'm about to say is gonna make religious people squirm in their chairs, but I'm gonna say it anyways. I believe God's put it on my heart." He says, "Sin's fun." I'm like, "Okay, where's this brother going with this?" He goes he literally said, "I've never slept with a woman. I've never smoked a joint. It wasn't fun. Don't tell me sin's not." And I was like I looked at Trina and I'm like, "I can relate to this, brother. This is real." I didn't know pastors talk like that, but he just kept it I could relate to it. So I kept going back, and after about the 6th Sunday, he had walked up to me. He introduced himself to me and said, "Hey, I noticed you and your wife have been coming." So he and I had a little bit of small talk, and he said, "Would you be willing to sit down with me twice a week on Tuesday and Thursday mornings at my office at 7?" And I guess he saw a fire in me because I was hungry to know more about this. Jesus because what I was doing wasn't working. And I was like, heck yeah, tell me more. So after sitting down with him, we'd done this for 3 years, not knowing what he was doing. I can look back now and go, that's what Jesus did with his disciples. He walked with them for 3 years before they pinned him to the cross. And I had fell in love with this man, Jesus. And of course, through that process, he was a chaplain for the Seattle Seahawks. And before he had moved to White House, he felt like the Lord was calling the White House to start this church. So he and I built a really good friendship. So started the church and all that. Things are going great. I don't know, after about 7, 8 years, he had left the church. He felt like he was being called back to his Fellowship of Christian Athletes. So he leaves, and I just kind of quit going to church, if you will. And, I gave him a crack, and that's when things started happening. I kind of fell back to my old ways and just crazy stuff. Yeah. So, anyways, he was the guy that I reached out to 3 years ago, and he's now NFL football coach. He's coaches for the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, wow.
So pretty awesome guy. He's an amazing person, and he loves the Lord, but he's also a man. When I was looking for a life coach, I looked for two things. I looked for a man that has a worn out Bible and got a smiling wife. He has both of those. And I just reached out to him, and so he and I we meet for an hour every week on Tuesday mornings at 7 o'clock, and we just sit down and talk about life and accountability and kind of, it just helps me walk through that side of it. And of course, my business coach, I no longer have him. Chad has done such an amazing job. He's very savvy with business. So, Chad kind of takes care of that for me. But yeah, so yes, how I found my life coach, that's him. So
So you're watching things must be going on in your job
uh,
and enjoying Pettit, right?
yeah,
So it's gonna be you're gonna have a lot of family in there. Are you worried?
not at all, not at all. And this is why I'm actually very excited. She retires in April. Trina's extremely good with numbers. That's kind of what she does. So she's going to be, I feel like she's going to kind of be Ashley's right hand person, and they're going to work together on that side with Service Tight and all the books and all that good stuff.
Which is done it's been a pretty it's like
Yeah. Yeah. Service Tight has been a game changer. It's unbelievable how diversified that software is.
it's pretty powerful. It's just hard to figure out.
Yeah.
But you guys are smart people. So keep going.
So Trina's going to kind of be our Service Titan expert, if you will. She's going to take the bull by the horns and really help us dial that in. She's good with software. She's good with numbers, so that, if Service Titan is done and done properly, you should be able to click a button and see the shape of the business minute by minute if you want to. So we're excited about that. And of course, having two boys, I have 3 boys, 2 of them work in the business. Brett is slowly moving into the service manager role. He's kind of like a team lead right now. Logan is one of our home solution advisors, and he does very well with that. And then my oldest son, Austin, he's expressing some interest, and I think there will be a time and a place for him in due time. So I don't want to create a position just to bring him over. 'Cause one of our core values at Pettit is we're all about merit and not entitlement. So and we hold true to those core values. But I think there will be a time for Austin. But yeah, I get up in the morning and I pinch myself that I get to work next to my boys every day. It's a great feeling. So
It's really nice for him to see. And also,
yeah,
it's like, Mom, when said that wrong, whatever his expression is.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, our life revolves around the heating and air and plumbing business. So, obviously you have to talk about it. It's kind of who we are sometimes. So the conversation is going to get brought up, but they do very well in honoring me with reporting to Chad. And, you have to set those boundaries up. If they reported to me, I could see how tough that would be.
Mhm.
And taking orders from daddy on a daily basis. I just don't think that's good for business. So they honor me in reporting to Chad, and Chad has done an amazing job with mentoring both of those.
That's right.
Brett and Logan. Brett has grown so much in his role, and man, Logan, you know, I don't even recognize the guy anymore, not just so much physically, but he's just grown so much under Chad's leadership. And then, he was smart enough as well to find him a life coach. Actually, my life coach is his life coach as well. They meet as well. So, but yeah, it works out. It's a beautiful thing when you set into place and people are reporting to who they should report to. So,
Yeah, that sounds really healthy, actually. Well, I wanna know fishing tournaments, what kind of fish were you
it's all about bass fishing.
fishing?
Yeah, we were bass fishing.
I interviewed with Frank Crappie or I think that's how you say it.
Depends on what part of the country, and it's crappie or crappie. In Alabama, it's crappie.
He said it was depending on how
Yeah. I was a bass fisherman. I wanted to keep my man card, so I didn't go after the crappie. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just picking. I'm just picking.
So, you know, I want to I'll just ask you one of the ones that okay, so we were talking about it. You've been doing that HVAC. You guys have I mean, like, you had like a 25% growth last year, something like that, right? I mean, that's just amazing. And then you guys are not,
Yes.
which of your short to our audience about the why decided to
Well, you know, you have to listen to your customers. That's so important. And we've heard many times over the last couple of years is, I wish y'all did plumbing. I wish y'all did plumbing. My team has done well with building trust with our customers. They trust us. They know that we're dependable. They know that we're going to answer our phone. It doesn't matter if it's during working hours, if it's 1 o'clock in the morning. You can literally call at 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're going to get a voice that is excited that you just called us, and you will get a Pettit service tech at 1 o'clock in the morning if you want that. Well, they love the service. It's like I tell people, we're the company you call. I don't say this to be arrogant. We're very proud of this, but you call us, your problem goes away. That's what we're about, and we work very hard and to make sure that that happens. So because of that, they want that type of service for plumbing as well.
because
So
they're trusting you, and that's
I think
and the asset is awesome. And it's a big plumbing gets a house.
it gets real
Plumbing
quick.
has that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, people can go without AC or heat for a day or so, but they're not going to go very long with poop backing up in their house. It's just not going to happen. They want you. So anyway, so we've listened to them, and a lot of what we do is plumbing, anyways. If you think about it, we deal with gas, we deal with venting, we deal with drainage and things like that. So we just kind of launched into plumbing, and we're just very happy that we can provide that service. And yeah, our plumbing division is growing.
Like we haven't been trying to get leads for you guys to plumbing because you wanted to make sure you handle those,
Mm.
which I think is great. You don't want to have customers that are dissatisfied. But just tell me some of the you learn plumbing as you
Yeah, you're right. We've done a soft launch, and what that is it's just our HVAC techs letting our customers know when they're out there that, hey, we do plumbing as well. You now get a plumbing inspection along with your heating and air maintenance agreement. It's part of the maintenance agreement, and we just educate them that your plumbing in your house is a plumbing system. You don't realize it's a system until something in that system breaks, and it can get bad quick. So we started just going that route, and so now we're in a place where we feel like we have our hands on it. We have two really nice plumbing units. We have two rock star plumbers. These guys are freaking phenomenal. So now we feel like we have a grasp on this. So we're wanting to go out there now and let the world know that, hey, we do plumbing as well. At Pettit, we're high cheap. When you're we don't toss family and team around lightly. I believe that if team and family is done and is done properly, when one person hurts, we ought to all be hurt. And if not, you're not doing it right. So the culture that's being built at Pettit is it's high achievers. We demand excellence, and excellence isn't perfection. It's not. It's just getting better every day. The men and ladies that come in here and they want to get better every day, they thrive in this environment. But the ones that think they're coming in to draw a paycheck because they showed up today, they don't last very long. And now we've had very few of those, but it's just the way it is. And they kind of wean themselves out, if they will. But the ones that are high achievers, they thrive in a culture like this. So that's just kind of the culture we try to provide at Pettit, but it starts with leadership. So not only do I try not to, I don't want to just talk about it, I want to be about it, if that makes sense. So, um, and I just try to show that through my actions, not just talking about it. But I'm also the type of guy that's always going to encourage them. It's because we got a bunch of young guys on our team. I mean, we have so many guys that are in late 20s. And it's like, guys, if you would just get this, you won't recognize your life, 5 to 10 years down the road. Because one thing about it is, I'm never going to sacrifice to give a customer a cheap price, but we're high achievers here, and to charge a premium, we have to give a premium service, and that's what we're about. And it's just, keeping your vans clean, keeping your vans organized, fresh uniform on every day, and just go after this thing called excellence, and you'll thrive. The skill set. When you get people that are high achievers and they want the best out of life, they may not necessarily have the best skill set, but because they're high achievers in this culture, in this environment, I can teach you the skill set. That's easy. But it's like the old coach says, one thing I can't do for you is bring your guts. If you bring your gut and you got some drive, I can teach you a skill set that you could actually change your financial status if that's what you need. So we just try to provide that culture for them.
I love that. People are very hesitant about promising or guaranteeing. You guys have to do a little bit about that. What it involves. Talk about it a lot. Talk about that a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. In our world, I'm not saying this, I'm not going to bash companies out there, but there are so many companies out there that once they sell you a high ticket item like a new HVAC system, unfortunately, they've got your money, and if something goes wrong with that system, they're so busy over here trying to get that new customer, that new system or whatever. But when this new system that they installed for you a year or so ago, it breaks down, they know that you have to wait on them because you're under warranty with them.
Oh,
And they kind of put you on the back burner because they know you're not going anywhere. Well, I don't like that. So we put a Pettit promise into place that we want to give our customers peace of mind that if you buy a new piece of equipment from us, a high ticket item, we haven't forgotten about it. So number one, we give 10-year parts and labor on everything that we install. It's not that popular in our industry, but to give a 10-year labor gives that customer peace of mind. But that 10-year labor is no good if you can't provide the service whenever they need it. So we promise them that if your system goes down within the 10-year parts and labor, if that system goes down, we promise you we're going to be out there within 12 hours to get your heating or your cooling back up and running. If not, we'll give you $500. So we hold up that promise. And that's just on the install side. No, never. And so we try to do that for all customers, but we're very intentional with the ones that are kind enough to trust us and spend that money on those big ticket items. We haven't forgot about you. We're always going to take care of you. Yes. So, and that's a manufacturer. It's noted in the manufacturer's warranty that you have to have maintenance done on that system regularly. If not, it voids the manufacturer. Yep. And of course, that's on the parts warranty. See, every system comes, well, just about all systems come with a 5-year parts warranty. If it's installed by a licensed contractor like Pettit,
Mhm.
then when we register that equipment, that takes them to a 10-year parts warranty. And then the labor warranty is up to the contractor. Most companies out there are going to give 1, maybe 2-year labor. We give a full 10-year labor with the Pettit prompt.
Yeah, y'all also find us peers, and y'all are one of the few people. So, yeah, sort of.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a you have to provide a way for your customer to afford your services. So we try to be as flexible as we can so that they have a way to afford and be able to pay for our services.
I wanted to ask. I want to go back to your family because I know, like, right as boys are inherent in the business. What would you say next? Expanding your hours working in business. What would you say? What advice?
Boundaries, and I hold true to that. It can be a beautiful thing. It's such a it can be a blessing or it can be a curse. And for me, it's been a blessing because I set those strict boundaries. Um, if Brett or Logan have an issue with something that may be going on in the business, they know to go to Chad, and they can't override Chad by coming to me because I'm always going to honor Chad, and that's worked out very because there's not just family, but Chad and I have been friends since we were 7, 8 years old. We hired on at least about the same time. We've been friends forever. I mean, he grew up rock throwing distance from me. So, I always want to honor him in that role. A lot of people kinda they laugh at me. They're like, "That's just kinda weird that you have a boss and you own the company." I honor Chad with everything that I am, because I know Mike Pettit. Mike Pettit scares me sometimes. So, I just wanna honor him, and, he honors me in return, and it's a beautiful thing. It's the same thing with Ashley. Ashley and I have been friends now for, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 years. Her husband and I actually went to school, played football together, graduated together. So, but that's how we're able to maintain our friendship is, we're big on the honor system around Pettit.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
you
I
know
think, um, and I think that is sometimes I think that's the heart of respect because um, there's we get busy, we get busy, we bark out orders, and we kind of forget. Oh, that may have hit the wrong way. Um, but I think that happens with our children. I think it can happen but at business, especially because, and I've said this to people when I hire them, we are all seeking excellence at our job. Sometimes that causes tension
does.
because what I need to be excellent at my job, you have not provided me yet
Yeah.
because you're trying to do excellent at this other thing. So there's just going to be that natural tension in the office. And so, mm, how do you de-escalate when it becomes really stressful? Like people are out sick, you've got people calling in. Is there any advice you have on that kind of thing?
Uh, I feel like as a leadership team, we've done very well with processes and procedures. That yes, when one person is not there for whatever it may happen, is we feel the pain, but we don't feel it near as bad because Chad and Ashley have done so well with the way that we operate.
Mhm.
So that really lightens the
Stressful.
yeah.
Do your head thing.
Yes. So, it takes a team to do that, when Megan comes in the morning, she's kinda over our CSRs. I mean, she goes straight to the board, Chad's at the board, and they're laying everything out, and if let's say we were to have a tech that life happened and he just can't make it in, because of service tight in our processes, they're able to adjust the board really quick to make it work. Yes, it hurts a little bit, but it could sting a lot worse if you're not up on top of things like that. So, yeah, the team just does a great job at that. Absolutely.
So I'm gonna turn this isn't one of my questions, but now I'm gonna turn it a little bit. 'Cause one of the things that you guys are doing is you're trying a lot of new things with marketing. Smart media helps your team with tracking what you help your team. Y'all were one of the not first, but one of the beginning HVAC lines that we started on with.
Mhm.
And we have really enjoyed watching the growth that you guys had experienced. And y'all are always willing to, when we come to y'all with something and say, hey, I think we need to do this. I think it's to increase more leads. Y'all are always willing to do that. But tell me your philosophy on marketing and just some tips that you have for the audience
Mm.
about that.
When I think about marketing, I kind of think about marketing and financing in the same way. And I'll tell you where that comes from. You remove financing out of Pettit right now. It, I don't know that we have a business. One of the things I learned 3 years ago is I don't run an HVAC and plumbing business. I run a financing and marketing business. It's a trend. It's just changing your mindset about business. So marketing and financing is what our world revolves around when it comes to making the thing, um, being efficient and being profitable. So marketing to me is just as important as us offering or not offering financing, if that makes sense. What was the statistic showed one time? I'd have to go back and look at it, but it's like 60, almost 70% of Americans can't write a check for $500 or more.
Really?
It's crazy. It is crazy what those numbers are. The numbers are really high of, Americans that have $10,000 more in credit card debt.
Yeah, I know that's
Yes, you have to provide a way for customers to afford your services. Most people don't have $10,000 sitting around to purchase a new HVAC system, so you have to provide that way for them to but, America's the only place you can live in that you can make $50,000 a year but own a $100,000 Jaguar. Think about that.
that is
So,
yeah.
financing is a big part of our business, but it's no bigger than marketing. So, marketing is I think about there's people in our trade, you know, I'm not gonna mention their names, but the big dogs in Middle Tennessee. I know both of those people. When people think of heating and air in Middle Tennessee, these 2 big names come up, and neither one of them can turn a wrench on a HVAC system. They don't know anything about heating and air, and they don't know anything about plumbing, but they market themselves to success. So, that mindset is it's very important that I surround myself with the right marketing people because it is just crucial in what we're trying to do. I have 25, 30 families to look out for now, and I take that very serious. They're very important to me because they're important to God, and I take that very serious. So I have to have marketing to make the phones ring. That's why we love meeting with y'all every month and brainstorming because we're very serious about that. We got to know that we know that we know and have a roadmap to somewhat say, okay, we should expect this much. And if we can't get this much, what do we got to do to get that much? Because I got 25 families I'm looking out for. We got to make so that's it. That's where that comes from.
Right. We need the phone to ring.
Yeah.
But you also are good about like, okay, so we do the LSA and the Google Business Profile, all the stuff you get. Kind of regular leads. We've got a plan for new customers, getting acquiring new customers, but then also keeping your database active with your current customers, like the text messaging and the emails. And
Mhm.
and your customers really respond well to emails. I mean, any kind of promotions that we have got crawl space encapsulations or any kind of upsell type things, they seem to respond to like the
Yeah.
air quality packages and stuff.
Mhm.
But one of the things that you have invested time and money in is video. And there are so many, we have a lot of clients, with a lot of people that we know that are just hesitant about video because I think it's time consuming. I don't know if it works. Tell me how you decided like video was the way to go and something that y'all needed to invest in.
The world is just changing so fast around us. And, in my mind, we're just trying to keep up. And, when I do get on social media, I enjoy watching videos. I'll stop and look at a video and, especially educational stuff. Um, why not? do that. And what I found out since we started doing these type videos, we get a lot of views and stuff on the videos. I know some are educational, some of them are kind of corny, you know. I got freaking videos of me out there running in a tank top talking about HVAC or whatever, but those videos get a lot of views. And I don't necessarily like doing that stuff, but if it's for the betterment of my team, I'm willing to do anything. So if my first, want to say, hey, let's go to the nature trail. I want to get you doing this run and we want to talk about this or whatever. I'm like, and I'll do anything from team. If you think it'll work, let's do it. So that's kind of, so we just try to shoot videos and then educate. And then, but we also want to keep our customers up to par with what's going on at Pettit.
Right. Your customers are buying more than you expect. They're buying, we've talked about this before, and especially on this podcast about being known before needed. And so a
That's
lot of the
good.
people that see your video, um, that's how when they have some need, they go, "Oh, I know who I'm with,"
Yeah.
right? So it's all about building that pipeline. You guys are in a position now financially and also with the staff that you have that you can put a little bit more investment in that what we would call branding. If you think about that funnel that the clients are in, it's all about who are we? We're somebody you can trust. Here's our culture. Here's our people.
Mhm.
Even, I mean, you guys even invested in changing out your wardrobe to make sure that you look more professional. And y'all have really tried to build that culture. And so the video helps share and show that culture, which I love.
Yep.
But the educational stuff is also important because it helps you with SEO. It helps your clients learn more about
Yeah.
what's going on. But the video is the future. And I love that you guys have embraced that. And it makes it a lot more fun and gives us a lot more stuff to work on
Yeah.
to be able to put that information out there. Um, what other recommendations we have for listeners about marketing? Because y'all have also done some local stuff as well.
Mhm.
But what kind of overall things do you feel like if somebody was a $1 million business and they want to get to 5 million,
Mhm.
what kind of stuff would you tell them to do?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind for me is reviews, 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 and five-star reviews. And, something that we're very, very proud of here at Pettit. And because I know what it takes to maintain a five-star review, you have to maintain a five-star service to be able to do that. In our industry, you can just go out there all day long, you see 3.5s, 3.8s, 4.2s and stuff like that. To maintain a five-star rating with, what do we have? 1,500 something reviews now.
A lot.
And it just climbing every day. It's something that we're very proud of. And you have to be very intentional with that and stay in tune with it. Now, me just keeping real, I love to be transparent. Not every one of them has ever been a five-star review. This is one of the things that I love when things like this get back to me at the company. And one of the things that always gets back to me, I think there's only been 3 of them where we were left a bad review. I take that very serious. I honestly want to know, where did we drop the ball? What did we do wrong? As an owner of this company, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this right. And I always ask the customer, listen, we're all human. We've all made mistakes, and I'm asking you to extend me some grace and allow me to make this right. And you know what I found out? Just by letting them know that you care, they're willing to extend me some grace. And we always go back and make it right. And they'll go in there and change that review by just making it what's right.
I
And
love that.
so, for instance, I want to share a story with it because, I want people watching this. I want them to know this, that, again, excellence isn't perfection. Excellence is getting better every day. I remember we had one review, and the lady, she's a single mom. She had 3 kids. It's like 100 degrees outside. It's in the middle of the summertime. And one of our techs are out there, and she needs a new system. But this unit's old, it's wore out, almost completely out of Freon. And she knew she needed a new system. But where our tech let her down is he didn't give her any other options. And she felt pressured into that, but she's like, "I just don't have the money for a new system. I can't even finance a new system right now." She goes, "I just need my air conditioner. I need my 3 kids to be cool." So
Right.
he leaves there. She calls another company out, and I think she paid them like 500 something dollars to put Freon in that, and, she leaves a bad review. So the next day after seeing that, I immediately called her. Thank goodness she showed me some grace. I just asked her for this, and she told me the story. And I let her know, "Hey, we dropped the ball. I let you down, but I'm gonna make this right." And I said, "How much was that ticket that they charged you?" And she told me, I think, like I said, I think it was like 500 bucks. If not, it was awful close to it. I don't know the exact number. I said, "I tell you what I'm gonna do, because I dropped the ball." See, I believe leaders take full ownership. I dropped the ball. I set some kind of process or procedure into place that allow that service tech to do that. It's my fault. And I said, "I want to pay for this. I'm going to send you a check. I'm going to pay for your service. And if you ever need me in the future," I gave her my personal cell phone number. "You call me directly and I will make sure that you're taken care of."
Wow.
This woman, this lady just broke down and cried like a baby. And she goes back out there and leaves a review. And you can go out and read the review. She says, "Never in my life have I ever had an owner of a business that truly cared for me the way that this guy cared for me. He paid for data," and she turned around and gave me a 5-star review. Now it cost me some money, but we dropped a ball. That was our fault. So I say all to say this: we're not perfect. We will make mistakes, but one thing you can take to the bank: Pettit will always make it right. Period. In the story.
Well, I think that's it. And I've said this before. That is the true test of character. It's not about mistakes. But we're gonna make. If you're not growing, if you're not out there switching back, you're not gonna make a mistake.
Yeah.
But it's how you rectify the mistake. It's how you go out there and go, "I'm sorry."
Yeah.
It's humble yourself, and you guys do that. And the other thing about your reviews too, just switching a little bit is, um, I can remember talking to your group and going, "We got to get more reviews. We got to get more reviews," and your guys you're actually doing a really good job of it. See people for reviews. We had like a little app, and you would send a text to them, but they would only ask if they remembered or if somebody that they really
Mhm.
knew was going to. And you guys have changed that recently so
Yeah.
that now it automatically sends a text to every single person. How is that going? And I know there were some apprehensions about it.
Well, so good. It's going great. But what I love about that is, what you don't know, you don't know. I honestly, I really want to know the feedback from the customer, how we're doing, good or bad. Because again, what you don't know, you don't know. If we're not excelling in one area and we're dropping the ball, I need to know that as well so that I can go to the drawing table, myself and the leadership team, and we can figure out how to make that right so that we can better serve our customers. So that's the beauty about reviews. They're going to tell you exactly how you're doing. So I want to know both sides of it. So,
So many 5-star reviews. Let's say you do get a bad review and something doesn't change it. It's going to average out and not be that big a deal because
yeah,
we figured it out and it was like, if you get a 1-star review, you have to get 10 5-star reviews
it's crazy.
to offset it
Yeah.
statistically. So it's really important that you're doing the basics, which is the 5-star service,
Yeah.
you know?
And, we're talking about marketing, but see, it all has to work together, right? Imagine having this beautiful brand that you went out and you spent all this money on this brand, radio advertising,
Right.
TV all this stuff. You spent just thousands and thousands of dollars. Everybody knows about you. And then their AC breaks down. Now they need you, but they don't know your phone number. So where do they go? They go over here and they'll go, they got a 3.5-star rating. They see all these bad reviews. You've wasted all that money over. So it's been a step process for us, and I'm slowly learning how that works. But I want to get better at that every day. But that's where we really lean on the Explore marketing team, and you ladies do a phenomenal job.
Thanks. Yeah, we really, and we've done some really big real open up the new office. Let's put your new office.
So that's another, listen to your customers. We do our main office is in White House, and but we do a lot of work in Hendersonville, and so to better serve our Hendersonville, Gallatin, Mount Juliet customers, we felt that if we could get a location over there and operate some of our team from that location, we could just be more efficient. So we went to Hendersonville. It's a beautiful facility. I think it's like 6,000 square feet. We have nice warehouse space, some nice office space.
Well, and you did the video. The
Yeah.
mini drone following you around on it.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
So when we gonna launch that video, by the way?
It's going this week.
Okay,
Yeah, I already
that's
said
good.
to Elon, I said, get this thing out there. So but it looks great.
It's gonna be fun.
And it's also been a great thing for Google because you are physically, the proximity is in the area where people are where they live. And so once we opened up that Hendersonville, because you already had the Google Business Profile, because you already had great reviews, when we opened up the LSA account for Hendersonville, after a couple of months, it just exploded.
Yeah.
And so that was really a great growth effort there digitally. And so you guys are doing all the right things. And I mean, one of the things is we work together at your annual meeting to just talk about like what are y'all's goals?
Mhm.
Because marketing needs to say, okay, you have these goals, you want to hit this revenue number, and you want to break it in like this is how much in plumbing we want to do, this is how much in crawl space and insulation in HVAC. This is what we want to do. And so then as a marketing team, we can go, okay, it's a mathematical equation. If you want to get this, I got to do this.
Yeah.
And so it's been really great to partner up. And if you're listening and you don't have an agency that is partnering with you, you need to call us or you need to look for somebody that is. It shouldn't be just a set it and leave it kind of thing. It is dynamic. It's fluid. You know, I think that we've seen that your competition has kind of gotten on their A game and they put some more money into marketing because they're seeing what you guys are doing. So you just kind of be aware of what's going on there. Um,
That's a good thing. Raise the bar where everybody wants I was saying out there, big fast moving trains don't slow down for little barking dogs. Jump on the train and enjoy it. But if you go sit over there and bark and not want to raise the bar, you just go get left behind. So when I see competition around me raising the bar and, cleaning their trucks up, getting their guys in uniforms, getting their ratings, I'm like, I love that because I'm in the trades as well. I want to change the platform, how people think about the trades. I'll share this with you real quick. I raised my boys. They saw daddy come home day in and day out, dirty boots, dirty hands and stuff. And I would tell them, I said, unfortunately, people look down on your daddy because I get my hands dirty, I get my feet dirty, and I'm just down in the trenches every day. But I said, I want you boys to always remember something. I said, just because you can't open somebody's chest up and do open heart surgery, I said, it doesn't make you a dummy. You're just ignorant to the fact. But I said, that guy that's doing open heart surgery, guess who he's calling to work on this heat and air system? I said, Daddy. I said, he's not a dummy. He's just ignorant to the fact we're professionals in two different aspects of life. I would love to see the trades get to a place to where they know their worth. They see themselves as professionals. We all act like professionals. And there's a premium to be paid to call us out to your house in the middle of the night when it's 10 degrees outside and it's snowing and stuff. Uh, go to a doctor and try to negotiate his price. But see, they do that to us because they look down on us. And that's our fault. But I think we can change that format to where they look at it as professionals and everybody gets a premium, but they're providing a premium service. Does that make sense?
absolutely does. I find that in some publications that negotiate prices and stuff. It just is something that's just gone on for generations. But I will say this about the trades is that one of the things that's great about getting involved in the trades is unlike the doctors have enormous debt, when they finally get to do their trade,
Mm-hmm.
they tend to be underachievers of wealth. And when you read the book like The Millionaire Next Door, it's people like Mike Pettit,
Yeah.
because they were able to start
Yeah.
saving their money up and they live a life that is abundant. And I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I believe AI is going to take a lot of jobs. And I think the trades is gonna be one of those ones that's going to, in fact, I even saw an article the other day talking about how the trades enrollment in the trades schools has increased.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest disservice they did, I'm older than you, I'm like, but when I was in high school, we had trades in high school. We had, you could be like a beautician, esthetician, a welder, all of
Yeah,
those things. We
I
did
know.
that in high
It's
school.
changed.
And I don't know why it changed, but I think it has something to do with all the scholarship money. And then they took it into the college area. And I was like,
Mm.
and I think we've done a disservice to our young people because of that.
Well, we know who runs the school system, and we know the agenda and the narrative behind all of it, and why everybody bought in to think they had to go to college and go in debt. But I'm not. We don't want to get into that here, obviously. But people are finding out trades. I can provide, and I can make a good living and do well in the trades, and it's an honor to be in the
It
trades
is.
that you can walk around with your head high and your shoulders back and say, yes, I do plumbing, I do HVAC, electrical, and be very proud of that. So
College with a lot of debt, $10, $12 an hour. So
it's the craziest
it's a
thing.
great,
It blows my
we have
mind.
sold parents and young people a wrong way to
Yeah.
build goods. We have just sold them the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's starting to right itself. I'm glad to see that. Part of that is just that he's working and AI is working. It used to be I had a son that's a software engineer. I was like, oh, he'll always have a job. Well,
I know. That's why I believe, Pam, it's so important that we question everything. If you think about that, if we just question everything, because if you do everything the way the rest of the world is doing, most of the world is broke, on the verge of bankrupt, depressed, anxiety. Why would we do what everybody else does? So I've raised my boys, and I've done this, is I started questioning everything. For me, it's like when I started my health journey and want to get in shape and be healthy so that I could see this unfold and be everything I need to be and walk in those four walls every day and bring the energy that needs to be brought to scale and build this thing. Is I started questioning, who says you gotta have 8 hours of sleep? I don't know. Some people, you may have to have 8 hours of sleep. I can get 4 or 5 hours of sleep. And, we got this thing. I don't have mine on right now, but last week at my, all of my team members at Pettit, I gave them this wristband and it says, steward your 24. Time is a precious gift from God. One thing, Pam, you and I will always have in common, always. We got 24 hours in a day. And I tell the men and the ladies at Pettit, steward your 24 and steward it well and watch your life change because of it. While most people are sleeping, getting out of bed at 7, 8 o'clock or whatever. And I say this because I want to encourage people. I don't say this to say, look at Mike Pettit and brag about Mike Pettit, but I'm not slaying giants in the dark. And I've already got 2.5 hours of wins in before I ever walk in those walls. I don't magically get to walk in with the energy and this personality that I have by getting out of bed and running straight to the shower, throwing my clothes on and trying to get to. No, I've already, man. Yeah, I'm ready to go. I encourage, see, at Pettit, that's one of the things I love about my job as a culture builder and the visionary is if just keeping it real. I'm not really that concerned about most of their skill sets. I'm not.
hmm
That's what Chad and Brett and those guys are good for. I really want to know is, especially these young guys I was like, how's your marriage? How's your relationship with your kids? How's your health? How is your finances? And where can I fit in to maybe speak a little bit of truth into that will help you out? That's where I get my highs from, is seeing these guys, their lives transformed because of something I might have said or done, and then they get better in that area because we'll teach them the skills. That's easy.
tell you there's no business. And when somebody's like challenge, there is a marital problem, a financial problem. It may even be just having a baby. I mean, those kind of challenges, you're not gonna you're not gonna get the same level of team member during those times. Some of those are gonna be naturally occurring. Some of them are man-made because sin is fun.
It's fun. Speaking for myself, from myself, looking back on it, was just a bunch of poor choices I made. Now, I like being truthful to the guy in the mirror. I don't go out to, speak like this to people, but for Mike, I don't mind being, because I believe if I can't be honest with the guy in the mirror, I can't be honest with anybody.
Mhm.
And when I look in the mirror 3 years ago and I go, you're a fat butt, you're out of shape. And, but what's cool about it is the same guy that got him in that I go, there's hope. And I got excited because the same guy could get him out of it. And there was work to be done. And I just went to work on it. So that's what I tell the guys and stuff. Is listen, you just made some bad choices, but that's okay because the same guy that made those bad choices is the same guy that can get you out of this. But this is what you got to do, and you better get ready to get uncomfortable. But it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
So
Not done it. You get to God define. So
come on,
yeah, there's so many. Wow, what a great that. I also like that that you recognize that I can't bring your guts. I like with our team members, we can't bring the guts. They got to bring those.
come on.
Yeah, come on, let's do it. And I love that you have identified yourself as a culture builder. I've not heard that before. I think that's great. Learn about your core values. That it's merit, not entitlement. Um, Life is noisy, and you got to get up early to spend some time with God because once life gets noisy, it's really hard. And that you like doing the uncomfortable, and then learn that you were a fisherman. And Trina went with you. I think that's so great. I just love her. I love your whole team. I just think you have got an amazing, high caliber working team
Thank you.
that really has a genuine heart for doing the right things. And then I also liked what you said about Steward the 24. Because that's a currency we can't buy
Yeah.
this time. And so I love all of this stuff. I might have to have Mike on again at some point.
You're digging the bottom of the barrel if you want me back there.
No. You're so good. I just loved all of this. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to Explore HVAC for more insights, stories, tips. Keep an eye on our podcast, subscribe to it. But until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and above all, keep exploring.